Alright, so real quick, let's talk about something I'm working on. As you can see here, I'm in Inventor Fusion, and we're looking at my newest design, the Micro Freestyle, or at least that's what I'm calling it for now. I've got a couple other ideas for names, but I'm not sure what I'm going to pick. Now, I've never really done a freestyle frame. I've always done symmetrical X frames. That's always been my preference, and I've done a couple stretch X frames for people, which result in XLR series. But freestyle is new to me. I've never really set up an H-quad style where the motors are wider than they are long. So dimension is a little bit different than what I'm used to. And I just wanted to do something cool, and what inspired me to do this was the RunCam mini split. And when it was announced, and I saw the pictures of it, I knew right away that I wanted to do a micro freestyle. And the reason why is because it's cool to fly micros. I really like it, but getting HD footage has kind of been limited because the cameras, at least GoPros, are kind of too big for the micro quads. And then I've seen guys taking these other little cameras and modding the crap out of them, decasing them, putting new lenses on them to get HD footage. And that's one way to do it. But I kind of like things that are a little bit more elegant, I guess you could say. And you can kind of see that in my designs. I spend a lot of time with geometry trying to make things have form and function. So with this design, when I saw the RunCam mini split, I knew I had to make something for that, and that's why I came up with this. And basically the idea is that build a micro quad that can go places that a 5-inch quad and a 4-inch quad can't go, and have HD footage. And I think that kind of combo is what's going to make this really fun. So I've set this frame up a couple ways. Right now we're in render mode. I'm in Fusion, like I said. Let me go back to model mode. You can see I'm in model space. I've got my model here of my frame. I want to describe some of the features I've kind of anticipated will be useful in this. Now, you can see from the top view, we'll go up here, the motor spacing. Right now it has the 2-inch props on it, and these are just some generic props I modeled after the Furious FPV 2-inch props a very long time ago, which are honestly not really great props, but they're what I have to use in my models just for fun. I don't really need to put models in there. You can see I kind of draw circles where the props are so I can make sure they're not going to strike any of the carbon. And you can see I've got a good amount of clearance here. But anyways, getting back to the design, this is a multiple piece frame, and it's kind of complex in nature. I've been generally doing single monoplate microframes since I started doing microframes several months ago. The XLR2 and the SCX2 and 2.5 are all 2mm bottom plates. What I did with this one was I felt like the components that you're going to want to put in here are probably going to add up in weight, and so I wanted to give people the option to run different power systems. So part of that meant having detachable arms. So if you look at the bottom here, you can see I've got basically we'll open one of these, a set of arms. I felt it was easiest to save hardware by making this a set of arms. Otherwise I'd have to use more screws to hold them in and keep them from moving around. So these 2 screws go through the flight controller stack, and these 2 go through the standoffs. But as you can see, it's a pair of arms. Going back to the main model, I've got 2 sets of those, and you can see the way the frame stacks up. Those arms don't contribute to the overall height between the standoffs. So these arms are interchangeable. And because of that, I've actually chosen to already draw up a set of arms for 2.5-inch and 3-inch, and I've also decided that I wanted to try them out in 2mm and 3mm thicknesses. So I went ahead and I've ordered all that. Everything's being produced through Armatan this time to give me some prototypes to play with. And then the body itself will be interchangeable between all of them. So basically, it's a very modular design, and I think that's going to be good for people who want to build whatever power system they want, because some guys like the 2.5 or the 3-inch systems, and heck, I might even do some arms for 1407 motors, but for right now these arms are pretty much sized for the 1104, 1105, 1106, 1107 style motors. So that's what I'm going to start out with. I'm actually going to run the Rotorex 1107s on my first build, and I'm not sure if I'm going to start off on 2-inch or 2.5 inch. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that the 2-inch powertrain is just not going to be enough. I think people kind of forget when you start adding all this stuff to a quad that it gets heavy. And what I mean by that is that the RunCam mini split is probably not that light, especially when you start stacking in it all the boards and the hardware that you need to mount those boards. I have a feeling this thing's going to be like 90 to 110 grams before you slap a battery on it, and that's probably heavy for a 2-inch. So I'm probably going to run 3S, and I may even think about running 4S. But for now, I think I might actually start on 2.5 inch because I think that's going to have the better performance. Now, I wanted to keep this thing as small as possible, so if I remember right, the measurements, at least in the 2-inch version, it's about 100 millimeters, so it's really tiny. This is a tiny quad, and it grows about, I want to say 15 millimeters, so it's a 115 for the 2.5 inch, and it's like right around 130 for the 3-inch version. And all that changes is the arms, obviously, but it places the motors where they need to be to fit the props. So, anyways, I'm open to feedback, so tell me what you guys think of this. Right now I've got this VTX03 mounted in the back. I'm playing around with that as far as how I want the prints to come out. I've actually already modeled these pieces and printed them and tested them out, and they fit fine, at least to the transmitter. I haven't tried them to the carbon because I don't have the carbon yet. But I'm also thinking about chopping this back end off and making the whole holder for the VTX out of TPU. We'll see where it goes. Anyways, just playing around with this for now. The idea is that when I get the parts in, I'm going to do a little bit of testing, and then I'm going to release it to the world. And I'm toying around with the name Black Widow, and maybe you can see why. Part of it is because when I was doing this design, I just kind of get into a rhythm of doing geometry and kind of drawing lines, and so all my cutouts that I do in my top plates usually have some sort of symmetry and some sort of weird geometric pattern. And it really has to do with the lines of how the quad is built. So you can see here we've got like an hourglass shape, which is very characteristic of a Black Widow spider. So I'm kind of thinking about calling it that, especially since it's small, and Black Widow spiders are not very big spiders, but they're very potent and venomous. But the whole idea behind this is really just to build something that's really fun to fly, that you can fly anywhere, that you can probably fly through gaps you're not going to fly a 5-inch through, and have fun. So, like I said, it's designed for the RunCam mini split. You don't have to run it like that, though. You could just run a standard RunCam micro cam or a Foxier micro. But overall, this is going to be my first freestyle type build quad, and I'm hoping to have some fun with it and share it with the rest of the world. So thanks for checking it out. Bye.